Welcome to Woman2Woman. I'm your host, Naima Latif, and I want you to grab a pen and call a friend and stay tuned in because we've got a treat for you tonight. All of us go through the aging process, but do you know it's actually reversible? So we're going to talk to somebody who's going to tell you how to do the right things for your body. But first, let me introduce you to my co-host, starting on my left.
Elizabeth Johnson, in the health and wellness industry.
Yes, and to my right.
I'm Margot Richmond. I'm the peacemaker of the group, and I'm an insurance broker here in the state of Illinois.
And now I want to introduce you to Robert Beck.
How are you?
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And he is a chemist, and of course is the CEO of ACOG Sales and Marketing. And this company, based in Chicago, specializes in natural health. So we want to find out a bit more about you and how you developed some of your systems of staying healthy and reversing that aging process. First of all, tell us a bit about your company.
My company was designed to take over from the late, great Dr. Alvinia Fulton, which I met her 35 years ago. She was the one that worked with Dick Gregory, and she was the first in PhD to do detox and rejuvenation of the body system and herbs and nutrition. So after meeting her and working with her until she passed, I thought I would just make sure I keep things going that I learned from and by her, because what I found out is what is a fact, that whatever's wrong with you is a nutritional problem or a virus or bacteria. So if it's a nutritional problem, that's food. If it's a virus, bacteria, that's antibiotic.
Oh yes, well, you know, I do remember hearing a lot about her teachings and her philosophy, and so many people that learn from her. So I'm really glad to hear that you're keeping her legacy going. And you said a few things that we were all talking about in terms of health and eating. And one of the first things, now I've been trying to be a vegetarian for quite a while, but I keep hearing different things. Some people say don't eat flesh, don't eat meat, and then other people say, well, you got to have some protein. What is considered a balanced diet or correct diet?
There's been trillions of dollars put into research to find out a person who had a very healthy lifestyle and didn't have any condition, what type of nutrition, vitamins, and minerals that the body had. And doing trillions of dollars worth of research, they came up with that the body actually, all humans, including animals, need 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, and 3 fatty acids. With that, it's like a car. If you keep those basic necessities like oil, gas, transmission fluid, and you keep it at a level that is necessary, the car lasts better and runs better. The human body is the same way. If you don't have all of these minerals and vitamin nutrients, the body will have side effects. The side effects is high blood, diabetes, memory problem, loss of vision. All of these are from deficiencies in the body. So if you know what deficiencies that cause that condition, then you know how to reverse and correct the condition.
So would you say every condition is reversible by changing or altering your diet?
Everything that goes on in your body, if it's not a bacteria germ, it has anything to do with your diet and nutrition. Because the body is designed to be made, if you feed it the right raw material, it does what it's supposed to do. The perfect example, our major problems, diabetes. Diabetes is a deficiency. If your body don't digest sugars and mine do, first thing you want to ask, we don't ask enough questions. The first thing you want to ask is, why my sister's body is digesting sugar and mine is not? Then you find out what makes the body digest sugars, and you start putting those things in your diet, and you find out what things harm the body when you're diabetic, and you take those things out. So in any condition that you have, first of all, you got to ask a lot of questions. First question is, what caused this condition? What would stop it from progressing? And what type of things do I need to do to rebuild my body to get rid of the condition? And if you ask those questions, it's going to be a nutritional thing.
Oh, well, you know, most of us know somebody with diabetes, and it's gotten to the point where it's just expected if you've got diabetes, eventually it's going to lead to an amputation of a limb because, you know, we've been told that that's just the natural progression. So what do you say we should do about that?
If you don't adhere to diabetes and start doing the things with the minerals that you need, if it goes from blindness, amputation, kidney problem, failure. It's like a car. if you hear your brake squeak
Yes.
and you keep going,
Mine's just squeaking right now.
when it keeps going, you're no longer going to have a pad problem. You're going to have drum problem, cylinder. It's like that with the body. If you ignore something and you keep going with it, it you know, it progresses and it gets worse, and it goes from one stage to the next. So that old saying, a stitch in time saves nine. If you think of preventive, that's number one. And like right now, this is the month to acknowledge the breast cancer, and that it doesn't always be in women, that is in men, is whoever have those deficiencies. And when you do have those deficiencies, it can be a man or woman, it's just that women, when they have babies, the one thing that causes that is selenium. But the reason women have so much problem with it, I've thought, is women have children.
Yes.
And when they have children, if that child drains all of that selenium out of that person's body, she started having aneurysm and have a heart attack, and then she'll die like the week of the pregnancy or the week after.
Oh, wow.
And they found out that it was a total blemish of loss of selenium because the baby drawn out of the mother. And
So
without
she
that
didn't
mother,
eat the right things to replenish the vitamins and
and
nutrients.
they start having aneurysms.
Ooh.
And anytime you hear a little girl or a young mother die with aneurysm, it was a deficiency of selenium in her body. And when she was carrying, doing childbirth, the child took that because the child needs all the things that the human needs, which researchers have found the 60 minerals and the 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, and 3 fatty acids. The body needs, it's like the car. The car needs transmission oil, it needs gas, it needs motor oil. And if it doesn't have any one of those three, if any one of those three is not in there, that car could be a brand new Rolls Royce. But if you don't have gas and you don't have motor oil and you don't have transmission fluid, those three little fluids, either one you don't have, the car's not going into place. So the body has that same kind of thing. It has to have those raw materials to do what it has to do. When you find that young mothers, and when they're in pregnancy, they do a lot of craving. They're craving because the body is in need of the nutrients, and it doesn't know how to go and say, look, I need calcium or I need some zinc. It doesn't know how to do that. So it makes you want, you just eat and then you get that salt taste.
So you're craving a certain thing. It's the minerals in that thing that your
minerals,
body needs.
you need to put those minerals into your body and your craving will go away.
So what kind of foods have selenium in it?
Your main bet to get your main selenium is to get a concentrated formula that says it has nothing but selenium, because the amount that the research has found, a lot of time when they say when a person needs calcium, a person needs 500 milligrams of calcium at a time.
So
that's
a
all the
drink
time
of
the
milk
body.
won't do it.
No, it won't. And because the body won't only digest 500 milligrams at a time, you do it in intervals twice a day. The first time in the morning with your meal in the evening. Once you got that quota up, the body does differently. You can go now, what's unfortunately, the soil now is so depleted until it doesn't have the nutrients and mineral and vitamins that it normally should have had.
So does that mean that our fruits and vegetables aren't
Don't
getting
have the
minerals, so
don't
we're
have
eating
the
dead fruit?
Exactly. We're eating, and you'll find out now they're saying, well, if you go and you get fruit, it may or may not have what you expected to have had. You can go and have vitamin C, and it might have an orange that's been under the sun, and it has no vitamin C in it at all. It's all gone. But you're better to go and get a supplement where they say, we have 500 milligrams of vitamin C in here.
So
that way
that
you're
means
sure.
You're not going to be able to eat regular food. Everything's going to be like supplements because the food
you're
is
gonna have to supplement because the soil has been depleted. Our soil is depleted of the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that it should have. And I read that a long time ago, back in biblical days, it was part of the requirement that every 7 years you let the earth rest.
Yeah.
You don't do
that was why.
anything. You don't pull no
Rotate.
product off.
And you rotate the crops.
And you rotate the crops.
George Washington Carver taught, and why he had said stop growing cotton because it had depleted the soil and
Right.
grow peanuts.
And once
things
you
like
have
that.
depleted the soil, it's just like putting money in your bank and you never, taking out, never putting none in.
Yeah.
After a while, you're not going to have anything in there.
Overgone.
You have to give this revitalization of the earth in order to produce the vitamin, mineral, and nutrients that it used to have and should have. And after a point, it's not good. And now they start using all these artificial preservatives such as grass killers and that. And now they come with a problem with fruit has too many of those chemicals on them.
Pesticides. So
So
now,
the
are
pesticide-
the pesticides in the foods, is that actually killing us too? Are there some side effects that we're experiencing that are a result of that?
Well, let me give you to put on my first hat, which is a chemist. I'm a 37-year-old chemist, and any and every chemical medication that you take is going to have what you call side effects. Because in order for a medication to work and to do something, it got to make something else go bad. And those things that it makes go bad, they're called side effects. If you take something as simple as an aspirin, to make the head stop hurting, and in order to make the head stop hurting, you have to re-regulate the heart. So the heart is not beating blood as much, so you don't get the headache as bad. But then you got the enzymes designed for the stomach to make the heart slow down, and then you keep doing that. After a while, you got to get some medication that's going to regulate the heart rate back up, then it's going to make something else go bad.
But
So-
now, I heard that you should take an aspirin a day or something to prevent heart attacks.
Baby aspirin.
Yeah, so.
Well, that's probably who was selling them. No,
Baby aspirin is taken, so it actually thins the blood, or it keeps it's something in the blood that the baby aspirin keeps on a regular keel, and it has been recommended, and it wasn't. I don't think it was recommended by the aspirin company, because it's actually a baby aspirin that you take.
No, but what they had, what I said depends on. I said depend on
True.
who you're talking to and who's making a recommendation, not the manufacturer. But if it's a medical doctor or a nutritionist, they'll tell you something different. If it's a nutritionist, they're going to tell you that something else will be better. If they're a medical doctor, they'll tell you something else, because they have two different worlds. Unfortunately, they are not in, the medical doctor and the nutritionist, they're in two different worlds. The medical doctor have to take absolutely no nutritional classes to be a medical doctor. You have 8 years of medicine. That's why if you go to a doctor and he needs something nutritionally, he's going to have to send you out to a nutritionist, because it's not the two.
So is that why we have this clash with our health? We've got these contradictions as to what's healthy and what's not healthy. Because you're talking about the side effects to the medications, and yet every older person that I know has this big cabinet full of pills, and they got to take this for that, and then they got to take this for the side effects of that. So we end up taking a cabinet full of medicines. But are there some natural things nutritionally that we can do to correct the balance in our body so that we don't have to take any unnatural drugs?
You know, it's a body, it's human. Even in the biblical days, it comes from the earth. And what the body needs to revitalize and redo, it can be grown in the earth. It's just that man is destroyed because of lack of knowledge. And we just have not, and we do not do sufficient enough of research to find out about what works and what doesn't, what we need and what we don't.
All right, well, the question I have, because we have to kind of really simplify what's actually happening, because it can be very overwhelming, because we trust wholeheartedly, and like you said, we don't do enough research, we don't know enough, so we take the doctor as, you know, and my doctor, and I really trust her, and I'm learning to study myself, you know, so when she orders lab work on me, and the lab work comes back, and you got this 2-page printout of everything that's going on in your body, and those areas, as I learned to just circle and find out the ones that's over, like my cholesterol was high, and then my sodium was high, and then the calcium was high.
But when she told you about your cholesterol, you know you have good cholesterol and bad cholesterol.
Okay, my
what was your good cholesterol?
I don't remember what the good, it was the good cholesterol was normal.
Okay, so,
okay,
that's a start.
Okay, so the bad cholesterol. So I've been working with that. But the difference was I was given medication to take because everything was out of whack. My blood pressure at that time was extremely high. And so I watched it, and it was taken in December. And then when I came back and took it in July, then she could have caught it in December, but I didn't know to ask for it. A friend of mine, which is a physician, said, Margot, let me go back and pull the records and let's see where you are. So I wrote her a nice letter, and I said, in December, my cholesterol was high, and you ordered the test. And then I said, I ordered both of them to compare them. Now, I want to stay alive. I don't want to have a heart attack, and I don't want to do anything crazy. But if the supplements that you're saying that should be taken, one would then be kind of leery and scared to not take the medication that will stop them from having a heart attack, and then bring in the supplements. So will the supplements counteract the medication?
You'd have to check that with your doctor.
You know, the one thing that's the main problem We do not ask enough questions. If you go to the doctor and they give you some type of lab and you come back, we should ask questions. All you're getting, get a good understanding. If somebody come back and say, oh, you're diabetic now, your first question, what caused diabetes? What food affects it? What foods helps it? What nutritional diet would be good for my condition? And what nutritional diet would be bad for my condition?
But to say, excuse me, but to say for her, she did. She gave me a list of foods not to eat, and then she also gave me a little membership to a Y to go in and begin to exercise, because she said you have to exercise, you have to push your heart rate up, get your heart rate up, and you have to do this on a consistent basis. So those two things that I did get from her. You know, but the way medicine, the way things are working right now, if you don't have a PPO, and the doctors are moving people through like cattle real quick and fast, so you don't hardly have a lot of times. A PPO is where you can just about go anywhere for care, but if you got an HMO, you limit it, and you can only have so many tests done within a certain period of time. So with the type of insurance that I have, it's like you have to wait 6 months before you can get that other test done, because they will not pay for it unless it is some emergency and you go to the emergency room for it. And people are learning to get around, but the things that you're saying about the supplements, because they said don't eat white bread, but eat wheat bread, So, you're changing, and a lot of people can't really afford the major change. They may gradually be able to change and go into supplements and changing the bread.
When they asked, to interject and I have this one question. When they said don't eat white bread, eat wheat bread, did you ask why?
Yeah. She said because the white bread, if I'm not mistaken, it's the bleach that's in it. It's all, it's bleached, it's the flour and all the rest of it.
Anything that's white and bleached has no nutritional value.
Right, so that's the reason.
And then she said wheat bread. Did she say whole grain wheat bread? Because there's a difference
she gave me a list, and it was whole grain wheat bread, and then it went on to all bunch of stuff. I got flaxseed oil, flaxseed, and I'm supposed to put that in my oatmeal, and then the berries, and all of the fruit. So I've incorporated a lot of that because I really didn't care that much for fruit. I like peaches, and that's it.
Okay. But a lot of doctors, it's like they are working hand in hand with the drug companies. I have yet to see a doctor that will strictly tell you how to change your diet and get rid of the condition. It's always the...
But did you not hear what I said earlier?
Ask questions.
A doctor is not required to take not one semester of nutrition.
And maybe they just don't know.
They take 8 years of medicine.
But don't you think that now that you got all of the supplements and things that's going on, you have a lot of doctors that I believe that are now educating themselves because they're very concerned about their clients as well,
Yes.
Well,
so I think there's a lot of doctors now that are venturing over. They may not agree 100% on so many supplements coming in at one time, but I think that there's quite a few doctors that's learning.
Yeah,
Would you agree?
There seems to be a clash between the holistic health industry and the traditional health industry, where as the traditional health industry, where we're always told that you have to take this drug forever because there's no cure in your situation, with holistic health and nutrition, we're taught that the body can repair the damage and can restore you to balance if you just change your diet.
And back to you, when you said there's a war between doctors, I would agree and disagree because I have been going to the doctor off and on since '09 for a cornucopia of things. But the way that the hospital is set up, you got listen to me carefully, you got the traditional doctors over in the main building, but you got holistic doctors that are associated with this hospital, but they have...
Their private practice?
They're over in a different building. So depending on who that, and the doctor that you're going to see, if you get to asking him enough questions, you got to ask him, you tell him, I'm not taking this medicine. I'm not doing this. So what else you got?
Yeah.
Literally, I'm not taking this no more. I've been taking it for the pain. The pain's not going away. You want to drill in my arm, so what else you got? Then they go, oh, well, wait just a minute. We'll make an appointment for you over in this area. And then they send you to the area that you choose to be in. But you got a lot of people who believe in pills. You got a lot of people that don't believe.
A whole generation that's been trained to think that you got to take a pill because the doctor said.
And when you talk to people and tell them about fruits and vegetables, even on the popular TV show, which the man will go unnamed, but you know who it is, you have people on there that are, I mean, they 400 pounds overweight and they still resistant to eating fruits and vegetables. You tell them you got to throw away processed food.
Well, first of all, you got to look at. You also got to look at some other dynamics. There's some other dynamics that's real serious. The
fast food industry?
No. The affordability of it as well. Now, wait a minute. Now, we're talking about the other end of the coin. Mm-hmm. The other end of the coin is the affordability. Because we had another person that was here, and we talked about that. And the average person that would, if they ended up going, they said, make a sacrifice. So if it had to be me, and I knew that, and what I'm looking at right now, so if it means that I have to live in a shelter or either I have to go back home and live in the house with my mother, Mom, can I come home? Then, and I'm serious, then that's what I'll do, because then I'll buy the supplements that I cannot afford because my insurance company don't pay for supplements.
Well, you know,
right?
Because of what you just said, we have now just recently, in fact, I gave all you one, we just worked with a company to acquire being able to give a prescription discount card out to everyone free. And for that one purpose, we give everybody a free prescription discount card that you can use at Walgreens, Walmart, CVS, and you can save up to 85% on all your prescription, up to 6% on lab work, and 35% on just regular hearing, because it does cover it. And the whole objective to be able to do is, if we can give you something to save money on your prescription drug, now you can go and buy the nutritional things that's going to reverse and get that problem out. And I had one guy who called and he thanked us because he saved $200 on his prescription from one month to the next. So he can take that $200 and go buy the things that, whatever your condition is, to buy those nutritional things that's going to make it better. 90% of the time, what our problems are when in our conditions, if it's not a virus or bacteria, it's a nutritional. So you got to change your diet. You got to take something out of your diet and put some things in.
But let me ask you this though. Let me ask you this one thing about once you start taking the supplements. Is it possible then, once your body is restored to balance, that you don't have to keep taking the supplements? You can just eat naturally and regularly, so that you don't have to take supplements?
Let me ask you this. If you drive your car every day, is it going to become in a time point that you don't have to buy gas?
No.
If you're alive, if this body is operating,
it
is using up what it has. So you got to constantly be putting it back in. That's why one of the most dangerous things that people don't understand, that, oh, I work out. I go to the gym 3 or 4 times a day. But if you're working out and you're sweating, and you're sweating out a big pot of nutrients from your body. It's not water.
That's true.
It's a pot of all your vitamins, minerals, and nutrients coming out. If you keep sweating and sweating and working out, and you're not replacing the body with those minerals and nutrient vitamins that you sweat out, you are now depleting your body. It's just like if you have a bank account, and every month you're taking money out of the bank account and never putting on in there, otherwise you're going to go into the negative and then it's going to be shut down. If you don't replace those vitamins, minerals, and nutrients from sweating, then you are depleting your body. And then that's why a lot of people who work out start having knees and joints and back pains. Because the body has streamlined all of those nutrients out and it's not being replaced.
Well, I got another question, because I've been trying to be vegetarian for the last 3-4 years. And my mother's always saying, no, you need protein, you got to eat meat. And so I've gotten off red meat, and I've gotten off pretty much as I can, chicken and all that, and trying to get off fish. And I keep hearing different things, that you can't survive off of just fruits and vegetables and grains. You have to have some type of flesh. What would you say is a balanced diet?
A balanced diet is 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, and 3 fatty acids. Those are, when you go into the hospital, and the first thing you do when you get in the hospital, they put an IV in your arm. You may not eat for the next month or 2, but you're not going to die. Because why? If you insert the nutritional value that body needs, it's going to stay alive. It doesn't have to chew. You just got to have the things in the body that the body needs. How you think so many people live on IVs for years and comas and laying there can't eat, but they don't die? And they don't lose that much weight. What they do is they feed the body with the nutrients that it needs. If you give that body what is in research that it needs, those 60, 16, 12, and 3, the body works just like it does if you have an IV. You got the nutrients that it needs, so you'll stay alive. You'll be fine. You won't be gaining a lot of weight. You won't be as hungry. And then you eat a little protein, a little eggs, so that the eggs are most vital for your cholesterol, because the brain really needs cholesterol.
Explain a bit about that, because you know I do struggle a little bit with memory loss, and you know I've had some relatives that have had Alzheimer's. So what kind of foods do you need to eat to strengthen your memory?
The brain sits on a tissue called myelin. Myelin is 100% cholesterol. And the best way to get cholesterol is through eggs. And in the olden days, our parents and grandparents, they ate eggs every day, and they lived long, and at 90 they could remember more than we could now. Because once you start getting on a cholesterol-lowering diet, or you get on a cholesterol-lowering medication, you're gonna start having some mental challenges, because your body is going to pull, and the drainage of the cholesterol, which is the myelin around the brain, it start depleting, and then it start getting thin around.
Wow. Wow. So we have to eat little baby chicks.
Well, I think I'd rather have a little baby chick than to have a bad memory and don't remember my grandchildren.
Well, I'm going to eat a little chick. Oh, here I come, little chick.
So the fake eggs, that doesn't work.
No.
So we have to eat chicks. We have to eat little baby chicks again.
Yeah,
there are no other supplements we can take, so we're going to have to kill the baby chicks.
Yeah, I'm afraid that's the best one that you can get. But if you look at it, it's no excuse to think about our ancestors had eggs all day, every day, in all forms, you know, and they lived to be 80 and 90 and didn't have mental problems like now. I remember my grandmother, she was so sharp at 90-something, I couldn't even fool her. I thought she was old. But you know, the memory is very important.
Well, in the last minute that we have, can you describe for us, say if you were inviting us to dinner, describe what would be the ideal meal that we could eat that would give us all those nutrients that you say our bodies need.
I would first give you the actual formulas of nutrients. There's 60 vitamins, 16.
I want something I can stick my fork in.
No, you're going to put pills on the table. We just going to get pills.
Okay, the 60 minerals. Let's do the 60 minerals.
Okay, now you can do that. If you want to stick your fork in something, you know, once you have put the essentials in your body, everything else is extra. When you go in and get your car, the first thing they do when you go in and take your car to get the oil change, they check all your fluid levels.
Okay, but are we putting in veal, two small veals, or are we putting in a ground beef patty, or are we putting in fish?
She's asking you, if you invited us to dinner, what would you serve us, literally?
Oh, after I give you the nutrients?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. See, because I'm not sure what's in the
about
food.
10 seconds left. So
okay, so we can have a plate of food, but we need to go make sure all these minerals is added additional.
Okay, first, in the morning, twice a day, I would do the essential 90 nutrients and minerals. Okay. And in the morning, I would have lightly scrambled eggs, not fried, with butter, no other oils. Tomatoes for men's, tomatoes for women's, sweet potatoes, and squash or something like that. No bread, and then drink a smoothie.
All right,
and then,
so there we have it.
And after the day, you can do fish, baked or broiled, and some type of vegetable.
Okay. There we have
non-fried.
You got your recipe for a balanced meal.
And clean your system out every 3 months.
All right.
Take that as a car.
Okay. Well, we want to thank you for giving us this vital information. Thank you all for helping to help our viewers know what we need to do to reverse that aging process. Well, we want to thank you for joining us today and that vital information. And we're looking forward to having that delicious meal you just described. I'm Naima Latif, and we'll see you next time on Woman to Woman.